And on today's Unbiased Hard Take. JB, it's been a while since the traditional format. We had a mini podcast last week, whatever you want to call it, but good to be back in traditional format. We have a loaded lineup this week. With that, JB, we're going to predict NFL Week 7 pick'em. NBA basketball's back, so we're going to predict the NBA Finals as we do every year. We're going to go down the Miami Heat season outlook and expectations. JB?
Well, you're here first. Let's get right into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take. And on today's Unbiased Hard Take, as I announced yesterday in my little short take for the Packers win, I am still a bit sick. JB's a little sick, so it's nothing abnormal. We'll be okay. It's just Indiana allergies. Little Indiana allergies. So, with that, JB, we have a big football lineup because the season standings for DoorDash, we both had great weeks. Pending Monday Night Football, I was perfect at 13-0. And JB cooking up something nice himself with 11-2 pending Monday Night Football, making us me 57-34 and JB 53-38 pending tonight. So really close DoorDash race. JB, we haven't formally shared fantasy football in a while. Would you like to do that for the people, or are we too unprepared for that stuff?
Oh, I'm way too unprepared for that.
Well,
but
in that case,
you can see it on our Facebook page. Link is in the description down below.
And I will give sort of a formal update. So I did change my team name to X Going to Take It From You because he is the Defensive Player of the Year right now. Yesterday was his first game without an interception, so that kind of sucks. But for the standings in JB's division, primetime, he is 2-3, leading his division. Butker's Tradwife is also 2-3. Number one Colts fan is 1-4. And in my division, I am 4-1, as is Swifty Nation at 4-1, and Bend It Like Beckham Jr. is 2-3. So keep tab on our Facebook page, like JB said, for final score updates after tonight. So, with that, JB, with the fantasy updates, we are back. You are moved. We are back talking this stuff. So, with that, JB, Thursday Night Football. I'll say this is an interesting matchup because Sean Payton returns to New Orleans, JB. So, who do you have? The Denver Broncos at the New Orleans Saints. Without Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler will start again.
Well, I mean, New Orleans Saints had a horrible week against Tampa. Tampa put 51 on them. And then, I mean, it was a very tough scene. They couldn't get anything done. It was just horrible. And of course, the Denver Broncos lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, are we really surprised? No.
Yes and no.
You know what? I think Sean Payton's gonna do it. He's gonna come into New Orleans. I really don't think New Orleans is really that good anymore. Derek Carr is washed ever since his injury. And it's just the offense is not working. The defense is slowly going downhill, and and they're on a losing streak right now. They are on a 4-game losing streak, so keep that in mind. And I think their streak is still going to continue, and I think Denver is going to get the win over the Saints.
You know, I thought we would start out different here, and we didn't. Because I think Denver wins as well. I didn't pick Denver last week, but Denver did string a couple nice wins in a row, and they didn't get obliterated by the Chargers. They simply lost by a touchdown. They allowed 23 points. Bo Nix, who is my favorite quarterback in the draft class, 19 for 33, 216, 2 tutties, 1 interception. He led the team in rushing at 61 yards. probably not a good thing from a team perspective. You never want your quarterback to be your leading rusher unless you have like Lamar Jackson or Mike Vick or something. But I mean, Cortland Sutton caught a
Or
touchdown.
Justin
Sean
Fields.
Payton has bone. That's a problem, right? Or that. So New Orleans, Spencer Rattler. I put on our Facebook page. I don't know if you've seen that. And I was interested to see what he was going to do yesterday. A lot of people had a first round grade on him. I had a second round grade on him. A mock draft. But he slid all the way to round 5. JB, 5? Round 5? He had a chance to do a little something, and he didn't play abysmal. 243 yards, 1 tutty, 2 interceptions. First start against a playoff team from last year who won a playoff game. So I would say a average performance from him. Denver has a good defense, JB. They held Justin Herbert in check yesterday to only 1 touchdown. Now Herbert, of course, protects the ball well, 0 interceptions. I think Denver gets an ugly win here. I think they're going to force Spencer Rattler to make some mistakes, and Sean Payton is going to come in there with a good game plan. He knows New Orleans really well, as we all know. I think he's going to come in there and he's going to get that win. I think it's going to mean a lot to him to do that. So give me the Broncos. I just have a gut feeling that he gets some revenge here.
I have that feeling too. Man.
I know, man. Whew. The people still need us, my friend. And in football season, we're right in the middle of like the best time of sports right now. NBA's coming, college football's here, and wide open. Might add you. Basketball's coming, both college and pro football. So we got to give the people what they need, sick or not. Speaking of sick, JB, this game will probably make us sick to watch. Some more international football. I ain't complaining because it's 9:30 a.m. football. I just wish we had a better game, possibly, because we have the New England Patriots with Drake May at the Jacksonville Jaguars. JB, I say at lightly, but international. Cha cha cha.
Well, I mean, Drake May did actually look somewhat decent, even though they were getting blown out by the Texans. Are we shocked? No, because the Patriots suck, but Drake May actually looked pretty decent. He did 20 for 33, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And he led the team in rushing with 5 carries and 38 yards.
That's so bad.
It is bad. So, I mean, Drake May is actually finally getting his start. Finally. I mean, it's been 7 weeks now, and he's now finally starting, but I don't think Jacoby Brissett is not going to be all that well.
He's not. I mean, they knew that coming in, though. Everyone knew it. That eventually Drake May will take over at some point.
And then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are abysmal. Even though Trevor Lawrence did 23 for 35, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And once again, a horrible defense making Caleb Williams look like he's fantastic. 23 for 29, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Like I said, I'll say it again. A horrible defense making Caleb Williams look great. But I'm going to pick the Patriots on this game. Just for the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars has a horrible defense. They had the Bears score 35 points. 35. And with the fact that the offense is not moving at all, the offense is horrible. And they only won 1 game, and that was against the Colts, and they barely won that one. And I think their losing streak is still going to continue. I think the Patriots has a little bit better of a defense than what the Jacksonville has. And I think Drake May is actually going to go out there and actually do some damage. So yeah, give me the New England Patriots.
I see what you're saying because I watched football all day yesterday. From the Bears Jacksonville game until the Sunday night game. Because, I mean, when you don't feel good, what else are you going to do? So, with that, when I was watching the Jacksonville game, they're this close. The problem is they've been this close all season long. They are simply a undisciplined football team. They get in the red zone. Well, Lawrence made a perfect pass. Gabe Davis dropped it. They might have it. They had a 20-yard run at one point yesterday. Holding penalty. Offensive pass interference. JB had 8 penalties compared to Chicago's just 2. 8 for 43 yards, JB. They'd have a big play and then get called back by penalty, or they'd have a receiver run the wrong route. Everyone in Jacksonville taking turns making mistakes. It's no one's fault in particular. But a mistake here, a mistake there, another mistake by somebody else, a blown coverage on defense. They're just undisciplined right now. Too many penalties, too many drop passes in the end zone, too many missed defensive assignments. They just don't look good. You'll have moments where you're like, okay, there's a Jacksonville I expected to see this season. And then when they'll get super close, punching it in the end zone, they'll screw something up. It's frustrating, and I'm not even a Jacksonville fan, and it's frustrating to watch. So I'm going to take Jacksonville here based on their talent. New England's just decimated with no talent on offense, JB. I agree, Drake May looked really good. 3 tutties, but he did have 2 picks. They can't run the ball with the crap. Like you said, 38 yards from your rookie quarterback making his first start is your leading rusher. Your best receiver is Douglas and Hunter Henry at tight end. Your offensive line is like a paper bag. I think Jacksonville wins this game. I don't expect much more from them. They're playing a bad team, but I think
They're
Jacksonville
both
wins
bad.
this
They
game.
both won one game this season so far.
They're both. I mean, right. And Jacksonville had Indianapolis to beat easily in the fourth quarter. And it's all like them to lose that Colts game because they did everything in their power to let Indianapolis come back. But they're just undisciplined. They can't finish games, but I think they get a win here. I just don't think New England has enough talent on its offense to even score 20 points, if you want me to be honest. But yeah, give me Jacksonville here. Trevor Lawrence is still a good quarterback. They have good weapons. They have good running backs, JB. They can't stop a nosebleed on defense, and they're undisciplined. Give me Jacksonville unconfidently. With that, JB, move on to a very good game because this should be America's game in the week, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it's not. But JB, the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh.
This is
Oh,
a little powerhouse fight right here.
this one is.
Who am I kidding?
Even
Everyone in
though,
that division.
even though Aiden Hutchinson had a horrible, horrible injury. Prayers go out to him. Hopefully, has a speedy recovery. He had a race to be probably defensive player of the year in my opinion. He was on a tear. I mean, it's already week 7. He already had 7.5 sacks because he had a sack that game against the Cowboys. But his leg snapped. So hope you have a speedy recovery, my friend. But regardless of him playing and not playing, I still think the Lions defense is still a elite defense.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to pick the Lions on this game. Just for the fact the Minnesota is playing a team that has really good defense. Packers had a good defense, but they could not stop Justin Jefferson at all.
No. It did not help that Jair did not play, but
even though he had 6 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown, but it still was the fact against the Packers because that's probably the only good defense that the Minnesota has ever seen.
well, they played the Jets. They had Good
I
defense.
really don't think the Jets really have that good at defense. I'm sorry, they don't.
A bit overrated, you think?
Oh yeah, they're way too overrated. I think they're just horrible. They are horrible. But I'm going to pick the Lions for this game, just for the fact that the Lions defense is probably one of the best defenses in the game by far. So give me the Lions for this game. I think they got weapons. They got secondaries that can stop Justin Jefferson and everybody else that is on the receiving end, because they got people to stop. I think people to stop Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and just miles more. And so I do believe that Lions can actually stop everybody. Because if they could stop CeeDee Lamb, and who else does the Cowboys have, or the Cowgirls have? Hold on.
Really about it, bro. I mean, a washed up Zeke at running back. They have Dak, who they're paying a lot of money to, and their defense has some injuries right now as well. It's just Dallas is.
Abysmal.
I've said all off season, Dallas will compete for a playoff spot, but they're not going to compete for to be a top team in the league. They're just not. They don't have enough weapons.
Well, right now they're 0-3 at home. Like, that is horrible.
And they lost badly. Each game, badly. It's not like they lost in overtime or by 6 or by 7, even by 10. No. They are getting a 47-9 on Fox, America's Game of the Week, embarrassment for the whole nation.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't score a touchdown, JB. Dak Prescott is supposed to be this. I'll get into Dallas later. I guess I shouldn't focus on Dallas here. I should give credit to Detroit, allowing less than 10 points, no touchdowns, while your best defensive player, Aiden Hutchinson, goes out with a season-ending injury. I did see a report that Dan Campbell said he's out for the year, but they expect him back for the regular season next year. So that's, considering the circumstances on the injury I seen, it was horrid.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the best case scenario. I hate the Lions. I root for their misery every week, and I always will. But I don't want to see anyone's season end like that. I want them to lose, honestly. The best players on the team. So, sad to see. I'm going to pick Detroit here also. Minnesota, I'm not 100% sold on as the best team in the NFC, obviously. Yeah, they're 5-0, but how long can Sam Darnold keep it up, JB? Yeah, they had a bye week last week. They played the Jets. And mind you, they won by 6. Great, cool. But Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions, 2 in the first quarter. Aaron Jones went out with an injury, so we'll see how that goes. How much do we truly trust Sam Darnold, who went 14 for 31, 179, no touchdowns, 1 interception? I just don't, and New York still had a chance with the ball at the end of the game to win the game. They just couldn't do it. So I think Detroit, they're my pick to go this. They thumped Dallas, JB. They went in there and just absolutely humiliated them. Almost put a 50 burger. 3 touchdowns for Goff. Montgomery and Gibbs are probably the best running back duo in the league. They got St. Brown. Sam Laporta caught 1 for 52 and a touchdown. He's back to himself again. So yeah, I think Detroit, they're here to stay, JB. I'll get into more about the NFC North later, the NFC North. But I think Detroit gives Minnesota their first loss. Give me Detroit. I think they're just a better football team, especially what I seen yesterday. But I do expect it to be close, as Aaron Jones may play. They're coming by. We'll see. So yeah, give me Detroit in a close game by a field goal. JB, we're going in blind again this week because Buffalo plays tonight still. So who do you got, JB? The Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills.
Oh man. Well, like I said, depending on today's game, because today is Monday. And I just don't see that the Tennessee Titans doing anything, and I mean anything this year. Of course, yes, they got to win against the horrible Dolphins. Now, since they're horrible,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills regardless. It's just the fact that the Tennessee Titans is horrible this year. I mean, the last game that they played was against the Colts and they lost. It's just horrible. Will Levis is looking horrible. He had 95 yards,
Wow. Yeah.
1 touchdown and 1 interception, including with a team that did not have their star players. Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor both were out. And it's just the Titans are abysmal team. They don't have anybody. They got a washed up DeAndre Hopkins. I still think he's good. I still think he's a fantastic player. He's just on a wrong team, in my opinion. So, give me a Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm taking Buffalo regardless, even if they get their ass kicked by the Jets tonight, which I don't think they will. I think they win. We both have Buffalo winning tonight, according to last week's pick'em. But I said it in the draft. Will Levis is not accurate enough. He can't read the defense properly. Just throws too many interceptable throws. And people say, "Oh, you said the same thing about Jordan Love," but Jordan Love makes up for it. That's the difference. Jordan Love will make a throw that you're like, okay, yeah, no one else can do that except maybe Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Holy crap, that was beautiful. And then he'll make plays where you're like this. God. The difference is Will Levis just makes those stupid plays. He doesn't really make anything else. 95 yards, JB. He completed 16 passes. Completed 16 passes and only got 95 yards.
Mm-hmm.
1 tutty, 1 interception. Pollard looked good. 5.5 yards carry, 1 touchdown. He's a good running back, underrated. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball very much, JB, because Buffalo's going to score and score. Like you said, the Colts got that win yesterday without their best running back, without their starting quarterback, with a Joe Flacco out there who's on his last leg, literally. Like, they let multiple big plays happen and then found the end zone, down the end zone, and the Colts got the win. So, yeah, give me Buffalo here. I think they're going to absolutely annihilate them, if you want me to be honest. I don't think this game will be very close. Tennessee's just bad. Will Levis is not the answer. I said it when they drafted him. Did I not? He's not the answer. He's not good enough. He's just not. Give me Buffalo. Ah, yes, JB. The Toilet Bowl. I'm joking. But we do have the Miami Dolphins, what's left of the roster at least, at the Indianapolis Colts. Speaking of the Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Colts on this one. It's just for the fact that the Miami Dolphins, I feel like they're on their practice squad at this point. I mean,
yeah.
It's just hold on, let me look at all their injuries here. Bradley Chubb is out. Devon Achane, he's questionable. A concussion. Tua is on injured reserve. I still think he should retire at this point. Just stop. Javon Holland is questionable. That's from October 7th. Jordan Poyer is out. Skylar Thompson is out. Jalen Phillips is on injured reserve. Cam Smith is on injured reserve. Grant Dubose is on injured reserve. Patrick McMorris is on injured reserve. Isaiah Wyan is out.
Dang.
Actually, no, he might be actually no, he might still be injured because it's from August 27th. So he might be playing. Actually, no, this should. Actually, let me go with the rest of the injured reserve because that's when you know he's out for the River Crackshaft is on injured reserve. Anthony Swartz is on injured reserve. Cam Brown is on injured reserve. Grayson Murphy is on injured reserve. Keon Smith is on injured reserve. And Taj Washington is on injured reserve. That is from
Dang,
October.
JB.
That is from October 14th to July 23rd.
Wow. If it says anything, here are the players, JB. We are just now predicting week 7. And mind you, Miami already had their bye week, so they haven't even played one of these weeks. And here are the quarterbacks who have thrown a pass for them. Tua, Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley, Tim Boyle. They've literally had 4 quarterbacks, JB, play for them. And it's only been, we're just now predicting week 7. And they had a bye week last week. You are absolutely right. I'm taking Indy here. I mean, they beat Tennessee without their starting quarterback and their all-pro running back, who led the league in rushing a few years ago. I think Indianapolis. I am out of Miami. Me and you said that we had one playoff change to have. If Tua was healthy, if all these injuries might not have happened, I think it's a different team. Miami's probably balling out, but that's not the reality we live in. They have a lot of injuries right now. It's unfortunate. I think they're a bad football team. I think they're unlucky right now, and they're injured. I think I'm out of Miami. I'm going to replace them in my playoff picture with Pittsburgh. You that we're allowed one playoff change. There's mine. I am out of Miami. Too many quarterbacks. I feel for them. I really do. But you give me Indy here. I'm impressed with their win yesterday. It was only by 3 Titans. It's with a almost 40-year-old Joe Flacco, and without your best running back. But yeah, give me the Colts here. They're 3-3, JB. They're kind of sneaky. It's kind of how they were last year. They beat teams, and you don't really notice it until the end of the season when they're right in the thick of things. Indy had a winning record last year, my friend. So give me the Colts.
I'll fill you on that one.
Battle of the Birds. Seattle Seahawks at the Atlanta Falcons, my friend.
Well, Kirk Cousins got it done. They had. I was looking at the game, and I thought Carolina was going to come out and win. I honestly thought they were, but but Andy Dalton threw for 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 26 for 38, 221 yards, and on a crucial interception at the end of the game, where he had probably had a chance to at least try to come back, but didn't. So, but Kirk Cousins really didn't do too well. I mean, he had 19 for 30, 225 yards, and 1 touchdown to Drake London. And their run game actually looked pretty decent. Aguilar, he had, god dang it, clicked the wrong button. He had 18 carries, 105 yards, and 1 touchdown. I mean, scoring 30, and you're allowing the Panthers, out of all teams, to score 20 points. The Panthers. What a shame. What a shame. And Seattle Seahawks is in a bit of a I feel like they're a bit of a frustrating part right now. DK is tired of the team. Um, it's, I mean, it's really atrocious right now. I don't think Geno Smith is not that good. He had that one good season, and what else has he done? I mean,
The problem is he's above average. He's average to slightly above average. He's so average that it's frustrating. That's the problem.
and DK is feeling that frustration. Because, I mean, yes, even though on paper he had 11 targets and he caught 3, but all of those passes that was targeted to him, they were overthrown, underthrown. It was atrocious. Um, I've seen parts of that game, and the throws that Gino was passing to DK was horrible. Like, no one in the world can catch those. Unless you're Victor Wembanyama and Ashley comes out of basketball, plays football as receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, and maybe he can catch some of those throws. But
That nice wingspan. That's right.
no, I mean DK has a fantastic wingspan, and yet he can't even catch those balls. So Gino is horrible with 30 for 52, and it was, even though on the middle of the game I seen he grabbed a headset and I don't think you can hear it, but you can read the lips that said "trade me" on the headset in mid game. So I think DK is tired of the Seattle and they're in that team right now. But I am going to pick the Atlanta Falcons. I think the frustration is still going to continue, and Seattle and Geno is not going to get the job done. So give me Atlanta Falcons.
You know, a few years ago, Smith led the Seahawks to the playoffs. Last year, he led them to a 9-8 record, and they barely missed the playoffs. So let's look at Geno Smith. This season, Geno Smith has had 1 touchdown in every game, but he has not had 2 in any game at all this season. Every game, he's literally had only 1 touchdown pass. For the season, he has 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, QBR of 87 in a league where 75 is average, and 1,778 yards. Last year, my friend, he had 9 interceptions, and he already has 6. He had 20 touchdowns last year. The year before that, 30 and 11. So he's getting worse again every year. They gave him a little bit of money. I think I would think he's revitalized his career. I mean, at one point, JB, he was a backup in the league for 6 seasons before he got a chance to start again. So I think he's had a good story, a good feel-good story. That's what it is. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame. He's not good enough. But he is good enough to be a mid quarterback or one of the best backups in the league. And that's the frustrating part. Seattle didn't draft a quarterback. They stuck with Geno, and they went out and got Sam Howell, which is weird because if you had that much faith in Geno, you wouldn't have went out and got Sam Howell. Sam Howell last year for the Commanders had some moments, and at one point was leading the league in passing yards. And might have done so had he not been benched. So, I think Atlanta here. You mentioned Tyler Algier. He had a great game, but Atlanta ran the ball good in general because on top of Algier's 105 and 1 tutty, Bijan Robinson ran 95 yards and 2 touchdowns in as well. So they literally pounded 3 touchdowns in on the ground. Kirk Cousins is doing what he needs to do. 19 for 30, 225, 1 touchdown. I mean, my God, their quarterback only had 1 touchdown, and they had 38 points, JB. 38. They can score really any way you want them to. Atlanta's a good team. I just worry about Seattle's ability to keep up with high scoring and things like that. I don't think Geno is the long-term answer there. They'll keep them decent. They're 3-3. They're not a bad football team. They're a mediocre football team because their quarterback's mediocre. Yeah, with that, JB, give me the Falcons. I said in the offseason, if Seattle had that much faith in Geno, they wouldn't have went out and got Sam.
I agree.
Yes. My favorite time of the week because the Houston Texans travel to Lambeau Field. So, JB, who do you have, my
Mm.
friend, of the Houston Texans at the Green Bay Packers?
Your Super Bowl pick
It is. This is my pick to win
facing
the Super Bowl.
against your team.
Yep.
Oh. Man. Jordan Love looked pretty. He looked really good against the Cardinals. I mean, it's no shocker there that he against the Cardinals defense. I think the Cardinals defense really isn't that good, except for a
It's not,
few
no.
players. I mean, they got Buda Baker.
I'm gonna say they got Buda Baker, but they got plenty of offensive players. They need to focus on defense this coming off season.
Yep, and I do agree. Um, even though Kyrie Barnes actually looked pretty decent. He had 8 solo, 9 total of assists and 1 tackle for loss. I mean, that's pretty decent.
It is.
That is pretty decent, but that does not defeat the fact that the Cardinals defense sucks. The run game is actually pretty decent. They held Josh Jacobs to 62 yards. But other than that, I mean, Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. 2 to Romeo Dobbs, 1 to Jaden Reed, and 1 from Christian Watson. He's finally back on the team. He looks like he never missed a beat. But that might change because he might get injured again here soon. He might get injured. Honestly, he might get injured in the Houston Texans game because he's so much injury prone. It is not even funny.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. I can't even argue that. He's great when he plays. That's it.
But even though the Houston Texans also faced a horrible team, the Patriots, and they did it worse. So you know what? If they held to Drake May, let me go through this game here. If they held Drake May to 2 interceptions and stopped their running game, even Drake May was their leading rusher. I think that the Houston Texans is going to come win this game. And I think it's not going to be a slaughter. I think it's going to be back and forth of a game. But I think the Houston is going to get one more stop in defeating the Packers by a touchdown. That is my prediction for this game.
And you know, this is probably the hardest game Green Bay has left on our schedule, I would say. So, with that, this is my pick in the Super Bowl, and to this point, that pick has looked extremely smart considering they're 5-1, and Nico Collins is injured, and they didn't have Joe Mixon or Damian Pierce for a few weeks because they had some injuries, so they're back now. He didn't miss a beat. Joe Mixon 102 yards, 1 tutty. Damian Pierce 76 yards, 1 tutty. I mean, Nico Collins is still injured, but they still have Tank Dell. They have Stephon Diggs, who got in the end zone. Dalton Schultz is an underrated tight end, and Joe Mixon can catch out of the backfield too. He caught a touchdown also.
Mm-hmm.
So that Houston team is here to stay. They are my pick to win the Super Bowl, and I'm not backing down. I think it's Houston, Detroit, and that's a weird Super Bowl, I know, but so far, I mean, a good pick so far. Maybe they put a 40 burger on New England. I know that's not necessarily hard to do anymore. But then we switch over to the Green Bay side. So Houston is what I thought they were. A good thing, except this week. Jordan Love, minus that 1 interception where Bo Melton fell on the route, had an outstanding day, only threw 10 incompletions, 258, 4 tutties. I mean, I'm looking here, maybe in the team stats overview. Hold on. Yeah, we scored in every quarter. At least something in every single quarter. We had the lead the entire game. We did not let them come back at all. They didn't hold a lead at all. At one point, they cut it to an 11-point lead, but we never let it get it closer than that. This is the first game Xavier McKinney did not get an interception. He's still my defensive player of the year, especially with Hutch out. I think it's ultimately going to come down between TJ Watt and Xavier McKinney for defensive player of the year. We'll continue to monitor that. Unfortunately, with Aiden Hutchinson injured, I thought it was a wire. I think I'm gonna pick Green Bay here. I have to pick them up looking good. The NFC North is the best division in football, my friend. 4-2 is last place right now. I'm looking right here, JB, the NFL playoff picture. If the season were to end today, here's how the playoff picture looks. In the NFC, Vikings number 1, NFC North. Falcons number 2, Commanders number 3. Football's so weird. San Francisco number 4, Detroit number 5, Tampa Bay number 6, Green Bay number 7. Chicago's on the bubble right there at number 8. We could be looking at another scenario where maybe every team in this division makes the playoffs. In Green Bay, 5 more division games. So a lot of that will be determined by those games. This is a big game. This is in Lambeau. Green Bay tends to play well at Lambeau. I think Green Bay gets the win here, friend. A close game. I got to pick my boys. I'm picking a really close game here. Jordan Love looks back to himself. Jacobs had a good few plays. Romeo Dobbs is back and looked good. Watson's back. But yeah, give me Green Bay finally getting some health back. Jair's back. Give me the Packers by a field goal. I think Houston takes the ball down to tie it with a field goal, and they're going to miss. There we go. Green Bay by a field goal. I would not be surprised if we lost here, though.
I
With
wouldn't
that,
be
JB.
surprised either.
No. Moving forward to the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. Oh, Deshaun Watson. Oh, dear Lord.
Even though the Cincinnati Bengals barely won, I'd say barely, because they had 17 points and the New York Giants had 7. So they barely won against the Giants. But the Browns are horrible. They are horrible. I don't see the reason why. Deshaun Watson's stat line is just atrocious. I seen he hasn't even converted 1 third down conversion this season yet. Not one. I think I forgot the stat line, but it's horrible. I don't see the reason why it's like, yeah, I'm sticking with Deshaun Watson. Why? Why do you just say it's like, yeah, we're sticking with Deshaun Watson. We still believe that Deshaun Watson is our quarterback for the remainder of the season. You got Jameis Winston that's 10 times better than what Deshaun Watson is. And DTR is DTR. It's not even, yeah, let's just go with that. But you got Jameis Winston as your backup. Put him in. I mean, he might win against the Bengals if you put him in right now. But I think everyone in Cleveland is tired of the Deshaun Watson being the starting quarterback. I mean, Browns, you might as well go back to getting the brown paper bags and putting over your heads, because it is a shame to be a Cleveland Brown fan right now. So, give me the Bengals on this game, because I don't
The Battle
think
of Ohio.
the Battle of Ohio, and I know for a certain that the Bengals are going to beat the Browns, and it's not going to be a close game. So give me
I abs-
the Bengals.
Oh yeah, I agree. The Bengals offense for the whole season overall, JB, has actually looked pretty good. I watched the entire game yesterday. They struggled on offense a little bit yesterday, which surprises me, but Burrow still had a good day, 19 for 28, and he took one to the house on the ground too, with a career high rushing touchdown for him. So
48
he looked
yards.
like Lamar Jackson. Right, he looks like Lamar Jackson out there with them wheels. So ultimately, I think the Bengals, it was never really in doubt. I never really questioned if Daniel Jones was going to be able to pull it out of his ass, because he's not. I mean, Jones has had a couple games this year where he's looked better. The Giants are 2-4, as are the Bengals now, so they have the same record. But I never really had any doubt that Cincinnati was going to win that game last night from what you could see. You could just tell by the atmosphere, by the trenches, and how things were just going play by play that Cincinnati was just a better team. But when it comes to Cleveland, JB, I have some stats here for you. Some Deshaun Watson stats. For the season, 5 touchdowns, 5. Less than a touchdown a game. 3 interceptions, so I guess at least he's not throwing interceptions. He just now broke 1,000 yards. 1,020 passing yards. He hasn't had a game of 200 passing yards yet. Season, JB, not yet. And mind you, his best season in Cleveland was last year, where he had 7 touchdowns. 7 before. Remember his injury
Mm-hmm.
he had last year? So yeah, it's embarrassing. And Kevin Stefanski has said previously that he's our quarterback. Well, yeah, he's your quarterback because you gave him all that money guaranteed. Guaranteed. Of course, you're going to play him because you're paying him that much money, god dang it. And look what he's done for you. I don't know what happened to him because this is not the quarterback I watched at Clemson win a natty, and it's definitely not the quarterback I've seen in Houston. It's sad. I mean, JB, he has more civil lawsuits. He has more civil lawsuits than touchdowns as a Brown. That's a real stat. Deshaun Watson has more civil lawsuits than he has touchdowns in Cleveland. Wow. He's abysmal. I don't know, maybe if his conscience is getting to him a little bit because of what he did. I don't know. I really don't. But I think Cincinnati wins this game. Cleveland, I agree with you. Jameis Winston's a vocal leader. It's kind of odd, isn't it, how they'll show Cleveland games and you have Jameis Winston clapping on the sideline, screaming at the guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's your backup quarterback. That's your backup quarterback. Shouldn't your starter be doing that? Shouldn't your multi-million-dollar guaranteed Deshaun Watson being that guy over there doing that? But no, he just goes over, puts his little beanie on, and sits. He got his money. You don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You give me Cincinnati. Deshaun Watson is not a starting NFL quarterback anymore.
He got his
Nick
money.
Chubb's
Just
still
let him
out.
go.
Yep, he got his money. And there was reports when he was a free agent that he didn't really want to go to Cleveland anyway. They just offered him more money, and now it shows. You can't just put names on a roster and expect it to work. Team chemistry matters.
Exactly.
Speaking of team chemistry, JB, the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants.
Oh man. The Eagles are a up and down team. Excuse me. Yeah, the Eagles are an up and down team. Win, loss, win, loss, win. And and if they go by the way this goes, I'm saying they're probably going to lose against the Giants, but I don't think so. Because I think the Eagles are way better of a team than the New York Giants are. But let's not front that Daniel Jones actually is showing signs of him being a good quarterback. The games that he has won he went over 2 touchdowns. In the games that he's lost, so far as what I'm seeing, he has not thrown 1 touchdown. He has only thrown interceptions. It's except for the Washington Commanders game. He thrown 2 touchdowns. But other than that, he has not thrown a good game. So, and the Eagles defense is really not that good. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. As season leaders against Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones, you know who's in the lead right now?
Danny Dimes.
Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes. I mean, yes, even though they have 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, but guess what? He has a lot more yards than Jalen Hurts. So, and I don't know if Malik Neighbors is gonna be playing. He's questionable.
It's concussion protocol. Yeah.
So hopefully he plays. But I'm honestly probably going to pick the Eagles for this game. Even though I would all high in praise on Daniel Jones and everybody. If Malik Neighbors does not play Philadelphia.
AB taking the Eagles, and I am too. The Eagles, yes, they're not winning pretty. Nick, I say team chemistry before I start this game because Nick Sirianni was yelling at some Eagles fans yesterday because they were giving him some crap. There's no such thing. Me and you have watched football for a long time. We've played the game. There is no such thing as a bad win in the NFL. There's no such thing. You don't get style points. You can win a game 2-0 or 3-0, and you don't get any style points for scoring more points. You don't. It's a win or a loss. So I think he needs to control himself a little better. He's kind of. I'm going to use a term my son says. He's kind of cringe. He's kind of an odd guy. I mean, his response to that was, if I want my guys to act like themselves, I need to do it too. Okay, whatever. But to only beat Deshaun Watson and the Browns by 4. Now, I get it. The Browns have a good defense. The Browns have forced multiple turnovers all season long. They do have the reigning defensive player of the year who's having a pretty decent season in Myles Garrett. So the Browns' defense is not the problem. The Browns are just incompetent in a way on offense. They should have still been able, in my opinion, to beat Cleveland. You're saying about Daniel Jones. I agree. He'll play better if Neighbors plays, but he's still questionable. It's a lot of what ifs there. I'm not a big fan of what ifs. AJ Brown's back. Devontae Smith's healthy.
And
Saquon
he
Barkley
actually showed
revenge game in
AJ Brown is an elite receiver. So, and he came
Yes.
back and didn't even miss a beat.
No, he didn't. And so I'm looking at this, JB. I think Philadelphia gets the win here. I think ultimately Saquon Barkley is going to get his revenge game here. I look for a big day for Saquon. He only
hope so.
had 47 yards on 2.6 yards per carry yesterday, and he's a good receiving back, but only had 7 receiving yards. So a pretty bad game yesterday for his standard, but it was against a really good Cleveland defense. Cleveland just sucks because of their offense. God damn. God dang. That's my cuss word I'm allowed. God damn, because they're bad. I thought Deshaun Watson answer. I know he's not necessarily a good person, but this ain't the quarterback we've seen before. And it's sad. It sucks for football. When I turn an NFL game on, I don't want to see Deshaun Watson playing like crap. I want to see good football. It sucks, but I think Philadelphia gets the win here. I don't trust Danny Dimes. Will Neighbors play? I don't think New York and Danny Dimes can keep up with Philadelphia's offense. Me, Philly. I look for a big day for Saquon.
I agree.
Yes. Oh, yes, JB. The Vegas Raiders at the LA Rams. Two teams sort of struggling right now.
Oh yeah, they're struggling big time. Um, once again, Devontae Adams is still not playing. Um, it's it's. I mean, the Rams isn't that much different. I mean, they all once again the Los Angeles Rams has injury problems, just like always. They really don't have no receivers at all, like none at all. I mean, Matthew Stafford is doing the best he can.
And he's old too.
Yep, and he is old, and he's saying that he is questionable for this game. But we all know that he is going to play.
Probably.
So both teams are in horrible condition right now. I mean, the Steelers dominated the Raiders in this game, and the Packers dominated the Rams. So I mean, it's really it's really not that too much of a difference of a game here. But oh man, give me the Raiders.
Ooh, okay.
Give me the Raiders for this game.
You know,
It's a very tough game for me, honestly. But yeah, give me the Raiders. It's probably gonna bite me in the butt, but give me the Raiders.
no, this is our third game we have different because I'm taking the Rams cautiously because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, these two teams are struggling right now. Let's look at the big picture here. So I looked at their season overall. The Rams are coming off a bye week, so that's good, especially for health reasons. Also with an old quarterback. Their last game they lost was to the Packers by 5. They had a chance to go down, but Jeff Hafley's defense stopped them. Thank God. Then let's look. The Bears beat the Rams by 6. The Rams beat the Niners. The Cardinals thumped the Rams. And then in overtime, opening game, the Lions beat the Rams in overtime. So the Rams aren't losing a lot of these games by a lot. So let's look at the Raiders now. God dang, JB. The Raiders lost 32-13 to Pittsburgh, 34-18 to Denver. They did beat the Browns, and then they lost to the Panthers 36-22 to Carolina, JB. Devontae Adams has requested a trade. No, there's not been a deal happen. There's been reports recently that he might have to actually play for the Raiders the rest of the year. Antonio Pierce has talked about players making business decisions, so he's going to make business decisions too. So I question how good that team chemistry is. It seems like a mess, like it always is in Vegas, and with the Raiders. So I'm taking the Rams here. John McVay's a good coach. They were a playoff team last year. They're better than their record says it is. They could have won a lot of these games they've lost. Yeah, they're 1-4, but the Raiders don't know who their quarterback is. They have an unhappy star wide receiver. Who, by the way, Devontae, if you're listening, the grass wasn't always so much greener on the other side, was it? You thought because Aaron Rodgers was going to be out the door here soon, you didn't think Jordan Love was going to be him, so you wanted out to play for the Raiders. And look how that worked out for you. Just saying. Imagine what Devontae could be doing in Green Bay right now. Just saying. The grass isn't always greener. With that, JB, I'm taking the Rams here. They still have a good running back with Williams. I trust Matt Stafford more than I trust Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew or whoever the Raiders throw out there at quarterback because it seems to be a different one every week. But yeah, give me the Rams.
All right.
Ah, yes, JB. It's our favorite time of the week that doesn't involve Green Bay or Pittsburgh. Do you have the Carolina Panthers at the Washington Commanders, JB? Oh, I love saying that. That's my new thing.
And you know what?
Such a stupid name for a football team.
The Commanders are actually
Such a
commanding.
That's such a stupid name for a
It
team. They
is
should
a
have just left it the
very
Wash. They should have just left it the Washington football team. I'm serious. They should have just left it that.
And you know what's funny? I think the Washington Commanders is the only team that's college. It's instead of college, hockey. Nope, actually, and baseball. Baseball changed their logo, but college and hockey has not changed their logos yet. On some teams,
I don't think the NBA has either.
nope. Well, there's no.
Offensive.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got Florida State. You got Florida State. Yeah, I think you got a few others that I can't think of right now.
And you know, here's my thing. The Indians, Cleveland Indians, they're the Guardians now. And the Redskins, who are now the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid that sounds. If they're allowed, if they have to change their name, why are the Chiefs allowed to keep theirs? Just saying. I don't have an answer for it because it makes no sense to me. I'm just saying. It's something to think about.
It's a weapon that the Indians used.
A chief is a rank.
Yep.
Also in the Indian culture, so and then you have the arrow, a little arrow. I just don't see how they get away with it, but teams like the Commanders and the Redskins and the Indians and the Guard, whatever you want to freaking call them, they have to change their name, but the Chiefs don't. Just weird, a little weird. Some alternative motives, in my opinion. But back to football.
Yeah, back to football. I'm picking the Commanders for this game.
In command.
I am taking command. I am picking the Commanders. Just because, I mean, honestly, they got their quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft class by far.
So far, yeah. I'm still going to hold out on Bo Nix because he was my top rated. I don't want to fold that quickly. But for this season, Rookie of the Year standings like that, you're absolutely right.
Because honestly, he's only thrown two interceptions this far of the season, and one's against Cleveland, and the other one was against Arizona. He thrown 2 touchdowns against Baltimore, 1 touchdown against Cleveland, 1 against Arizona, 2 against Cincinnati, and he didn't throw any against the Giants. But I'm pretty sure that's not including the rushing. He didn't run. He also ran one in against Arizona and Cincinnati. So, and he's doing both on the offense. He's passing and rushing. I mean, right now he's at. Let me see. He's probably at over 1,000 yards by this point. I can't see.
Are you wanting a little? Well, he has 1,404 passing yards, but he also has 322.
Yep,
He has about 1,700 total yards.
He has 10 total touchdowns. 10.
Right. And only 2 total turnovers because he hasn't lost a fumble this year yet either.
Yep. So to me, I think he's the best quarterback in this rookie class by far. So.
Oh yeah, he is. He is.
I want to see what he can do against the Carolina Panthers, the one of the horrible teams of this year. I want to see what he can do against a horrible defense. I want to see if he can destroy them. So give me the Commanders.
Oh yeah, I agree. In a world where the Panthers, and I'll give Andy Dalton credit. I mean, he's playing decent ball, especially given the team he plays for. And mind you, people forget Andy Dalton led the Bengals to the playoffs many times. Remember those AJ Green teams they had? Andy Dalton was a good NFL quarterback for years. He's still a good backup quarterback, I would say. But I mean, only 20 points. He did throw 2 interceptions. They don't really have any weapons beside Deontay Johnson, who looks pretty good for the Panthers this season, and the corpse of Adam Thielen. And they have Chuba Hubbard at running back, who's having a decent season as well. He had 91 yards on 5.1 average per carry. The Commanders, JB, you're absolutely right. They're playing good football. Dan Quinn has Washington on the map. They're leading the division. In the same division with the Eagles and the Cowboys, and they're winning that division. They have second seed in the playoffs right now. And they got Carolina coming into DC. So I think Washington wins this game pretty easily. This is going to be a good Dane Daniels to hit 5-2, get some more confidence build up before a harder stretch of his schedule comes up. So yeah, give me the Commanders here, JB. The only thing I worry about them a little bit is they don't really particularly run the ball very well. Look, Jaden Daniels, because let's look at his stats yesterday. The leading rusher yesterday was once again Jaden Daniels with 22 yards. So if Washington struggles, it'll be because they can't run the ball. But give me the Commanders here. Oh boy, JB. Here we go. Kansas City at San Francisco. This is America's game of the week. And I guess I can't really argue because it is a Super Bowl rematch. Who do you have, my friend? Both teams are leading their divisions right now. Looking pretty decent.
I'll say this. I'm looking at the season leaders against Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy is doing a lot better than Patrick Mahomes.
On the stat sheet, yeah.
On the stat sheet, Patrick Mahomes is 111 to 160 with 1,235 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Brock Purdy for this season so far is 121 out of 185. Yards is 1,629, 9 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And you are telling me the Kansas City offense brought back Kareem Hunt. They signed back Juju Smith-Schuster. Now that's their best receiver on their offense as a receiver. And yet they're still undefeated. And with that stat line with Patrick Mahomes, see, I don't.
It's the same stat line Geno Smith has. 6 tutties, 6 picks. Same stats as literally Geno Smith.
And yet I'm also looking at the Kansas City's wins here.
A lot of them are by a lot.
Not all of them.
All of them. But some of them, like the
Ravens, they won by a touchdown. The Bengals, they won by 1 point.
Yep.
Falcons is probably the only one that they went 22-17. Chargers, they barely won that one. A touchdown. And the Saints, 26-13.
They haven't scored 30 points yet.
They have not scored 30 points, and
Wow.
I don't. And when they played against the New Orleans Saints, Patrick Mahomes, he had a decent yards, but he didn't throw a touchdown. He threw a pick.
Yeah.
But Kareem Hunt, 27 carries, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Juju, 7 catches for 130 yards. Derek Carr had a better stat line than what Patrick Mahomes did. And they lost. 18 for 28, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And yet the Kansas City Chiefs are still winning. And you know what? I think it's still going to be the exact same thing. Kansas City is going to get this dub.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times they're going to show Taylor Swift on the screen.
Even Bill Belichick got tired of seeing it. That was funny to see on the Manning cast. Anyway, so you're right. It's absolutely scary. Kansas City is on a different stratosphere than everyone else. Kansas City is up here, and everyone else is down here. And our offense has a lot of big names. You have the Swifties with Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes and all that, Brittany Mahomes, Jackson, all that stuff. A lot of big names, media hype. But really, Kansas City, even going back to last year, JB, didn't win the Super Bowl because of their offense. I have some stats right here, JB. Last season, the Chiefs had the second best defense in the entire league behind Cleveland for the whole season. I'm looking this year, JB, they are a top 10 defense again at number 9. So they're winning on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Reality, they don't have a lot of big name stars. Well, you gave Pat Mahomes a stat line perfectly. 6 touchdowns, 6 picks. And mind you, his stat line was a career worst last year. Isaiah Pacheco's out with injury, or pistachio, like you like to say. Hollywood Brown still is injured, hasn't played yet this season. And Rice, their best receiver, is also injured, JB. And they're still winning these games. So yeah, Kansas City's on a different stratosphere. I wouldn't be surprised if they win every game. And I mean that. And it's not because of their offense. I don't even think it's rigged. Andy Reid is that good of a coach. You're telling me Juju Smith-Schuster, who New England didn't want. Mind you, New England has no one at receiver. They didn't want him. Pittsburgh didn't want him. He goes to Kansas City, and now he looks like Jerry Rice. Kareem Hunt went to Cleveland last year when Nick Chubb was hurt. Didn't look very good. And Cleveland won in the playoffs last year, for Christ's sake. It's not like Cleveland was bad last year. Now he comes in again. You got Xavier Worthy running touchdowns and making plays. Travis Kelce hasn't done crap this year. So, yeah, Kansas City wins, JB. The Madden curse is real on top of it because Christian McCaffrey still hasn't played this season. So, I'm just worried about San Francisco and their Mason, their second-string running back, is having some injury problems right now, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kansas City's going to win this game, JB. I think they're going to make Brock Purdy make some mistakes. He'll make some throws. Brock Purdy will. It'll be a good game, but I trust Kansas City more than I trust San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco craps the bed every time they play Kansas City. Look at the last 2 Super Bowls they played in. So yeah, give me. Yes, JB. This is your favorite time of the week, and on Sunday Night Football, because there's 2 Monday night games again. So Sunday night, JB. We'll be waiting all day for it. Who you got? The New York Jets, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're kind of going blind into this one again because the Jets have not played yet.
To me, it does not matter because I'm going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game. And I am going to... Everyone on our injury is all questionable right now. So, and I've hopefully Nick Herbig and Alex Highsmith actually comes back being a full full healthy and everything, they're all ready to go because we really do miss them quite a bit. But Justin Fields is doing what, and I think there is word that um, I think Russell Wilson is going to play this game. I think he's going to start this game, but I'm not 100% sure on it. But
There's been some, yeah.
I did hear some things that that Russell Wilson is going to start this game regardless of how Justin Fields played against the Raiders. And I'll say this, Najee Harris finally doing Najee things. Finally. He broken out of the shell and he actually went on a tear last game. 14 carries, 106 yards, 1 touchdown, and his longest was a 36-yard run, which statistically he was supposed to only get 7. And he got the touchdown. And I seen the percentage of him getting the touchdown was 0.8%. So once again, hopefully he keeps this up because that's the powerhouse of the running back that I like to see. Is Najee Harris doing Najee things. He finally got his first 100-yard rushing game this season, and he finally got his first rushing touchdown. So I want to see that keep happening. And the Raiders actually pretty good on the run too. And Najee said, "No, you're not." So I'm picking the Steelers because I think that the New York Jets defense is really not that good. They're way too above their heads right now. And plus, Hassan Reddick is still not playing.
And it's weird because him and his agency parted ways too. And from what I read, his agency parted ways with him. It's unusual. It doesn't happen too often in the NFL.
Yep. And
but
so I mean, it's regardless because honestly, Justin Fields is outplaying Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Yes, even though he has more touchdowns. But Justin Fields has 5 touchdowns. It's not including his rushing touchdowns.
I count rushing too. It doesn't matter how you score.
Well, right now I'm seeing the season leaders for the passing. Justin Fields has 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. So yeah, I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers regardless of how today goes. I mean, the Steelers it's not even a close game to me. I think we're going to go out and we're going to outscore them every quarter. And I think we're going to win regardless.
This is a hard game for me to pick. Not because it's the Aaron Rodgers, whatever. I don't give a crap about that. He's not a Packer no more. But I worry about Pittsburgh quarterback. Mike Tomlin's a smart man. I don't think it's wise to pull Justin Fields. There's been reports I have right here from Diana Rossini that's been made, quote, "It's been made clear to me over the last few weeks that the locker room and coaching staff in Pittsburgh love Fields."
Mm-hmm.
So while the big question hovers over every game has been, will Mike Tomlin make the switch to Russell Wilson now? I think that's a mistake. You have, obviously, I'm not super high on Justin Fields, you know that, but he's playing good ball right now. Pittsburgh has him playing turnover-free football. He's passing well. He's running well. He has the Steelers 4-2. I think it would be a disaster for team chemistry to pull Fields now and put in Wilson. Wilson was healthy, and Mike Tomlin was quoted and said, excuse me, right here. Quote from Tomlin: health and rust are two different things. I've seen reports that Mike Tomlin really is interested to see how the offense looks under Russell Wilson. But I think if that happens, you're uprooting all the progress you've made all season long, and you'll lose if you play Russell Wilson. Fields is playing good ball right now. I'm not a Fields fan, but I ain't going to deny it. I'm going to give his flowers. He deserves it. I mean, what he did yesterday against the Raiders, he's playing good football. One interception, like you said, my friend. So I'm going to pick Pittsburgh here. I think Mike Tomlin's a smart man. I think it's an absolutely disastrous move to put Russell Wilson in right now. So I don't think he's going to do that. I think Fields will get the start. So long as Fields gets the start, I'm picking Pittsburgh here.
I mean, to me, I think regardless of who's starting a quarterback, and yes, even though Justin Fields is a fantastic quarterback, and I think he's going to be our quarterback for. I think he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler for probably, hopefully, rest of the season. Because I think we finally found our young quarterback, and that's actually is doing fantastic things. So I don't think Justin Fields is not going anywhere. I think he's a
That's my point.
Pittsburgh for life. But I think regardless of, I think they both love Fields and Russ. Because yes, even though Russell Wilson has not been doing much in practice, but he is a full go. I think they both love Russell and they both love Justin Fields. Like I said prior, I think it to me, I don't think it does not matter who's going to be the quarterback because they both actually been starting snaps in practice. So they both know, the offense knows how both quarterbacks operate. So to me, regardless of the quarterback situation, it doesn't matter. I think Tomlin knows what he's doing. Even if we start Russ, and if we're losing by, hopefully not by much, I think he's gonna bring back in or take Russ out and put Justin Fields in for the remainder of the game. So to me, regardless of the situation, because Justin Fields can actually bring us back from a losing scenario because he has done it before. And he has not done it before, like the Cowboys game, for example. But to me, regardless of the quarterback situation, I don't think it doesn't matter.
The only thing, I'm going to take Pittsburgh here very lightly because of the core. I think we're taking opposite approaches on this. I think the only thing I worry about with that is if Justin Fields is only under contract this year. So if you keep putting in different quarterbacks, you pull Russ, you put Fields in, you pull Fields, you put Russ in. However it may turn out, if you end up doing a quarterback carousel, I worry about the confidence of the quarterback. Because Fields is going to sit there and go like this. Dang, I literally did everything I could have done and it wasn't good enough. I think that'll hurt team chemistry. And with the report coming out that Pittsburgh, the locker room really likes Fields, I think Tomlin could lose the locker room if he were to pull him. I just worry about that chemistry, man. I just worry about the chemistry. And Russ can't move like Fields can. Fields makes that offense more dynamic. You can run a lot more read options with Najee. You can run a lot more read option passes with George Pickens. The offense is more explosive with Fields, I think.
Like I said, you it's regardless, because I mean it happened with Ben Roethlisberger. His rookie season. I mean, yes, even though the circumstances was different, I mean, he showed up and was fantastic because of injury. I mean, like I said, regardless of the quarterback situation, I don't think it does not matter because black and gold is a whole different scenario. I do believe we have the best locker room chemistry regardless of anything. So, with that being said, everyone loves everybody in Pittsburgh. It will not change the chemistry. It won't change the locker room. Tomlin is Tomlin. Everyone loves Tomlin, even though there's people that hate Tomlin, fans more than players and everything else. But everyone loves Tomlin in that locker room. And what he says is true, regardless of this. And what he says comes true. And I do believe that. It's been through that way through his whole entire career as a head coach. So, to me, regardless of the situation, we will not lose. Tomlin will not lose the locker room at all. So,
I love it. I love it. You have faith in your boys the same way I have faith in mine. And I do trust Tomlin. I don't think he's going to. I just think it's a bad idea to pull Fields. I don't think he's going to. I think if
and
Fields starts struggling.
Fields knows his role right now. He knows that a Super Bowl quarterback is the backup quarterback right now, and he knows that.
Right.
He even said it before. I mean, to me, Fields is a leader. I mean, he even said it during the post game interviews and all of that. The offense still needs a lot of work to do, and it's true. Our offense needs a lot of work to do still, even though we had our first 32 points, our first 30 bomb in a game. To me, it really does not matter. Whose quarterback is, it does not matter to me. I really want to see how Russ is with how our offense scheme right now. I really do. I want to see it.
I like it, JB. You're taking that approach, and I'm taking the don't fix what ain't broken approach. With that, JB, we're moving on to Monday Night Football. We got 2 games this week, my friend. This is the better game, in my opinion. The Baltimore Ravens at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2 really, really good football playoff powerhouses.
Ooh. I really want Tampa Bay to win, but the Ravens are on a whole different level right now. But I'm going to give me the Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens on this one.
You know, I agree. I agree because not only do you have a 2-time league MVP, the defending league MVP, at quarterback who's playing absolutely outstanding ball, 323, 1 tutty, 1 interception, 40 rushing yards, only 6 incompletions. So on top of the fact that Derrick Henry, who's finally on a good team, 132 yards, 2 tutties. Zay Flowers, 132 receiving yards. Mark Andrews found the end zone with 66 yards. They held the high-powered Commanders offense to only 23 points, and Jaden Daniels only 22 rushing yards. But Baltimore, who started out the season kind of rough, has really bounced back and put a string of wins together. So I'm taking Baltimore here. I do like Tampa Bay. I do think they're a good team, but how much stock do I want to put into them beating the Saints with Spencer Rattler? At the same time, Baker did have a really good day, but he did have 3 interceptions also. If you have 3 interceptions against Baltimore, you will lose. I promise. I mean, 325, 4 tutties. He made up for it. He had ultimately a decent day, but got to cut them turnovers down against Baltimore here. So I'm taking Baltimore here. They're just a more talented team, and they've been here before.
I agree.
To our last game before we switch over to basketball, my friend, the LA Chargers at the Arizona Cardinals, our second Monday night game.
Oh, excuse me. Two horrible teams. 2 very good offensive teams. But Arizona Oh, they're losing a lot more games than what they should have won. But I'm going to go with the Chargers on this game. I'm going with the Chargers. I think the Chargers has a little bit better of a defense than what the Arizona Cardinals have. Like I said before, the Arizona Cardinals does not have that good of a defense. They have a few good players. I mean, really, but that's really about it. I mean, Buda Baker can't play every single position on the team. I mean, he's trying to do the best he can, and I think they really need to work on their defense next year or next off season, because I mean it's horrible. So give me the Chargers.
You know, the Chargers were always charging. They're always charging. But let's not act like the Cardinals are known for winning either. And this is a weird game. I don't know how I feel about 2 Monday night games and 1 Monday night game starting at 9 p.m. I get it's out west. It's just kind of odd, in my opinion. But the Chargers went out there yesterday and got a really impressive win against a Denver Bronco team that's strung about 2-3 wins together in a row. I was impressed with that. The Cardinals are a sneaky team, but they're not there yet. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still out with a concussion a little bit, so we'll see what his availability is. But the Cardinals got outplayed by Green Bay yesterday from the start to finish. There really was no doubt who was going to win that game. The Cardinals are a sneaky team. We called that, but they're just not ready yet. Their defense ain't there yet. They did beat the 49ers by 1 point. That was sort of a sneaky win. That's what I'm talking about by them being sneaky. They'll be inconsistent. But against Jim Harbaugh, who actually is now doing better, he did not start the game as head coach yesterday with an irregular heartbeat. They treated him. He was on the field in the first quarter. So the Chargers were able to get a win yesterday with some chaos happening at their coaching position. That matters for something, and I'm impressed with how Herbert's been playing this season as well. Not putting up superstar numbers, but I mean, Chargers, may I say this, actually look like a legit football team. They're not winning off 1-2 play on Justin Herbert to go out there and tell him, okay, go out there and win it for us because no one else will. They actually are playing complementary football. It's not just one player. Mind you, he only has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. He hasn't even broken 1,000 passing yards, JB. He only has 815. But they're winning games. They don't need him to go out and do that 1,000 times anymore. J.K. Dobbins looks good. So long as he can stay healthy, the Chargers want to be a sneaky team. Even the Chargers. Yes, JB, with that, we have now wrapped up Week 7 NFL Pick'em. The NFL season goes too fast, my friend. The NFL season goes too fast. We're already predicting seven weeks. But things are going to start speeding up a lot faster because NBA's back, JB. Miami Heat yesterday got their first preseason win, 101-99. The Heat now moved to 1-1 in the preseason. And with preseason basketball back, my friend, what's your outlook on the Miami Heat this season? What's your expectations for them? What's your thoughts?
We need to start making a lot more baskets. We won by 2. And it was not a pretty sight with our
Isn't.
I mean, even though it is preseason, I know it's preseason, but preseason is for me is for a way to get the rust off. But when you're shooting 9, hold on, I'm trying to get the get the stat line here. Hold on.
9 for
Stand
42
by.
from 3.
Yes. 9 for 42. That's horrible. Like it's horrible. We went 39 for 94 on the field. Nasir Little didn't even make a basket. He went 0 for 7, 0 for 3 at 3, 1 for 2 at free throw. Like I'm seeing this and it looks horrible. I mean, yes, even though our defense is looking fantastic, it's looking fantastic right now. 15 steals. We had, I think they got 24 turnovers total. Yeah, the
Correct, yeah.
Pelicans had 24 turnovers, and we only had 15. But I mean, I don't know. To me, it's a little different. I mean, Kilo Ware's he's looking somewhat
He
decent.
had a really good first game.
Yeah, he had a really good first game, even though we lost. 2 steals, 4 blocks. I mean, to me, he should be in the rotation for a starting position.
Oh yeah, I'll agree. I'll get into that later, but I agree with that.
Because I mean, if he keeps that up with the blocks per game, at least get like 2 or 3, 2 steals, 5 rebounds. He went 2 for 4 at free throw, 1 for 3 at 3-point. He went 5 for 9. He had 13 points. And if we keep him put him as our starting center, Bam as our true power forward, because he is a true power forward to me, and both of them trying to swap balls, it's literally game over. So yeah, I think there's a few positions that I say that we need to look over.
Now, here's the question. Are we a title contender? We've made 2 finals, made the playoffs every year. I mean, we're pretty much running it back. I'm looking at our roster here, JB. We didn't
If we
add
can make
really any free
3-pointers.
agents. We'll see. I mean, because the Miami Heat are a hard team to predict because even last year with all the injuries, we were still a playoff team. The only really additions we've made, we signed Alex Burke. We got Khalil Ware from Indiana. That's really about it. Everything else, we are running back. We still have Kevin Love. We still have Duncan Robinson, Thomas Bryant, Jamie Jacquez Jr., Scary Terry, Alex Burks, Khalil Ware, Jovic, Bam, Tyler Hero, Jimmy. It's the same team as last year, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Plus a couple players. Miami has a deep roster. We have a good bench. I'm interested to see how Scary Terry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy, Bam play together. We didn't really get to see a lot of it last year because of the amount of injuries. Jimmy was quoted recently saying that he wants to play as many games as possible this year. I think a lot of it's going to come down to health. Tyler Hero's health has been questionable in the past. Jimmy coming off of sort of an injury-ridden season last year. I think for us to reach our true potential, Jimmy has to take a step back. Bam needs to be our best player. He is our best player. He's our youngest player. He's definitely our best defensive player. and he's coming off of an Olympic championship. He's our best player, JB. He's the most available. He doesn't miss a lot of games. Bam needs to step up and be our best player. Jimmy needs to be okay with that and be okay with being our second best player. As long as we stay healthy, Miami's going to be a playoff team. We're going to be a playoff. Eric Spoelstra's the coach. We're running it back with the same core we've made 2 finals with, pretty much. So we're going to be in the playoffs. The question for Miami is, can they stay healthy? That's really it. I mean, that's really the big question mark. The three-point shooting. Last year, we did not shoot well at all. Miami wins ugly basketball. We win old school. Heat culture, defense, play hard, good bench. Team basketball. That's the Miami Heat way. I'm not opposed to that. We've proven it can work. We've been to 2 finals. And then 1 Eastern Conference Finals, playoffs consecutively. So, I worry about our three-point shooting a little bit. We're going to be an outstanding defensive team. I do find it concerning that we didn't go really get any shooters at all to add to our roster. We really didn't. Our shooters are, I guess, Tyler Hero, sorta. Alex Burke, Duncan Robinson. Those are our three-point shooters. I mean, really? Really?
We got Larson.
Great.
I mean,
I worry
his
about our
his
ability to
first
score.
his first game, he only missed 1 shot. He had 10 points. He went 2 for 2 at 3. But the next game, he had a massive shooting slump. So, I mean, once again, we got a shooter, but he's not a consistent shooter.
Correct.
But yet, even though great people or good shooters have horrible games.
And Scary Terry can shoot too. So I think
Oh God,
long
don't
as
get me
our
started
core
with
can stay
him.
healthy. Scary Terry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy, Bam, and Khalil Ware should be our starting 5. I agree with you. And so long as that stands true, you'll have Jovic coming off the bench, Duncan Robinson coming off the bench. You have Thomas Bryant coming off the bench. So you'll have Miami. You'll have a very deep roster. Kevin Love, Alex Burke. I said Jimmy Jacquez Jr., Josh Richardson. We have a good bench. The question is, can our starters stay healthy? They need to get reps together. They didn't get any last year. Someone was always hurt. So long as Miami can stay healthy, they're going to be a NBA Finals contender. I flat out said it. Having the finals last year. Made the playoffs, they were injured. Okay, I can live with that. We were in the finals 2 years ago, JB. There's no reason to think we can't do it again. So long as we're healthy, I look for Miami to at least make a deep playoff run. I want to see what this core can do together. If we're healthy and we don't have a successful deep playoff run, maybe it's time to implode the current roster, if you know what I'm saying. I do want to run it back this year. I want to see what this core can do.
What we need, we got one. I feel like we have one true center. We really don't have a true center. Because I'm looking at, yes, Bam is our center forward, but it should be forward center, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, Khalil Ware is our only 7-footer.
Mhm.
And I think Bam and Jovic should be rotating as our forward. But honestly, we really do not have anybody that can actually fill in Khalil Ware's spot. Except for Thomas Bryant is our second best or our second option as a center.
He's an offensive liability. Great defensive player, but
Mhm.
he can't. He's
Even
not
though
an offensive guy.
even though he went 4 for 5, he had 9 points, but he really didn't do really much offensive wise. So it's game on and off. Sets, I think he should just set screens, roll to the basket, get our shooters open. But I think this is our starting five. Terry Rozier at point, Tyler Hero at shooting, Jimmy Butler small forward, Bam's our power forward, and Ware as our center.
I agree.
And the rotation goes as follows. Our backup point guard should be either Drew Smith or, if he develops well enough, Peleol Larson as our backup point. Drew Smith. It's depending. The two might swap. And then Jamie Jasquez Jr. as our small forward. Kevin Love at our. Actually, no. Nikola Jovic as our backup power forward. And Thomas Bryant as our backup center. And then whoever rotation needs as follows for the backup rotation. Then we'll go from there. And then if we really need someone shooting, Duncan Robinson might come out as if we need a 3.
He's going to have to because we don't have a lot of 3-point shooters. We need Duncan to step up in the 3-ball this year.
Mm-hmm.
There's no just doubt about it. We just don't.
If we're down by a few, like 9 or 10 points, just get him in there, get us back in the lead because he can actually play some defense as well. So he's our utility player for me. I see him as our utility player. He can play both. If he can be in a starting role, he can. If Tyler Hero's out, then honestly, if Tyler Hero is injured, put Duncan Robinson as our shooting guard, but keep Drew Smith and Peleol Larson as the backups, as for the shooting guard. Because honestly, I don't think Drew Smith or Peleol Larson is really, because Larson is a rookie. Drew Smith, he was undrafted. We brought him in, and he's actually looking somewhat decent. But that's just besides the point. I think we just need to develop those two, see how good they are, and then just go from there. That's my understanding.
I agree. I think we need to send those two to the G League and rely more so on Alex Burks and Josh Richardson to be our guards.
And I really don't have high hopes on Josh Richardson either.
Not with his injury history.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's the big question with Miami. Can they stay healthy? Erik Spoelstra will have us competing. We know that. Can we be healthy? That's it. That's the question.
Yep.
With that, JB, we got one more topic, my friend. NBA Finals predictions. The NBA tips off here this month for the opening day, JB. So with that, who is your NBA Finals predictions? The champion, and in how many games, my friend?
Oh, this team might actually shock you.
Okay, I'm ready.
New York Knicks. I think the New York Knicks is going to win the NBA championship if Jalen Brunson can stay healthy. But with getting Cat Williams on their team, that and a few others, that really has changed a lot. For getting Cat and keep Jalen Brunson on that massive contract, I think New York's going to be the top team by far.
Okay. Who do you have now in the West in that case? So you have the Knicks winning the championship against.
Oh man, this one's gonna be a little bit tougher.
The West is loaded, yeah.
The West is loaded. The West is loaded. I really don't know. I don't want to say Timberwolves. Don't want to say Golden State because they went completely downhill. To me, they should have got rid of Draymond Green or Draymond instead of Klay Thompson. San Antonio Spurs, no. Pelicans, no. I want to say Memphis Grizzlies.
Really? Okay.
I really want to say Memphis Grizzlies, but I'd probably not thinking so. Dallas is a pretty good team. So it's either me between Memphis, Dallas, Kings, maybe, possibly. Since they did get that trade and they do have DeMar DeRozan. And they do have, I think they still have a Sabonis as well. Or as I'm thinking of a whole different team.
The Kings. Well, they have Sabonis,
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan, and De'Aaron Fox. Yeah.
Yep. So that's a
And
pretty
Malik Monk coming back too.
Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty good team. So I'm thinking about them as well. The Phoenix Suns, I think they're pretty much washed at this point. Devin Booker,
Toast, yeah.
I mean, Kevin Durant's not himself anymore. Or who knows? They might come out and show themselves that they're actually competitors instead of choke artists. Lakers, no. Clippers, no. Warriors, no. Utah Jazz, no. Trailblazers, no. Thunder, no. Minnesota Timberwolves, maybe. Denver Nuggets, I think they're going to lose the last game to go into the finals. So for me, it's between Sacramento Kings, Dallas Mavericks, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Wow.
I didn't expect that to be your final. That to be your final three. Absolutely not.
No, it's oh, it's just the West is just not. Well, and the
Wide
Thunder,
open.
and the Thunder as well. The few teams that actually really didn't do good, actually did somewhat on the off season. Actually, is actually really really good. You know what? Give me Sacramento. Screw it.
Wow, JB having the Knicks defeat Sacramento in how many games?
6.
Okay, because we're half together here, JB. I agree. I think the Knicks make the finals. Cat getting traded from Minnesota to New York got a lot. It didn't really get a lot of media coverage I thought it deserved. I actually had to dig for articles regarding it.
Mm-hmm.
JB, I couldn't find a lot on it, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Did you notice that? There wasn't really a lot of media coverage on it.
Yeah, it's really not that much. I mean, it was just a few it's like
And
yeah. It was probably like breaking news for like 5 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah, it didn't get the coverage I thought it deserved because truly, the Knicks could have been in the conference finals last year, minus some injuries because they ended up losing to the Pacers.
Mhm.
But Jalen Brunson is that dude. He has proven he can be the best player on the championship team. Last year proved that. So what they need? A co-star, right? Josh Hart can't be your second best player. So what they do? They went out and got a second star down low to help Jalen Brunson. Cat and Jalen Brunson left to be a scary duo. And they have a good roster around them, JV. They have Precious, they have OG Anamwe, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Miles McBride, Cameron Payne. So they have good role players behind their two All-Stars. So they're
Mhm.
built in an Eastern Conference that's kind of weird. Yes, Boston's the defending. Like Boston has shown holes in the past. I worry about Boston's ability to repeat. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to take the Knicks versus the Thunder. The Thunder, in like you said, the West has a lot. It's kind of wide open. But last year, the Thunder, who were one of the youngest teams in the league, had the best record all regular season, mind you, of the entire league. The number one seed in the Western Conference. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is an absolute baller. He's an MVP candidate last year.
Mhm.
You have Chet Holmgren coming off his first season playing. There's some more experience there. They have Jaden Williams, who's an outstanding player as well. They have Alex Caruso now, who they traded for. They ended up getting rid of Josh Giddey. So you have a good roster, a good young core. And they went out and got Isaiah Hartenstein from the Knicks also, who made some plays in the playoffs for them last year also. So the Thunder are a young team with a lot of really good players, JB. And that's without me bringing up Nikola Topic, who's their first-round draft pick. They got players, JB. It's not a 1-2-man show. The Thunder, I think the Thunder are going to make the finals this year. They were young last year. That's why I decided not to put them in the finals. But they got another season under their belt. I think they're ready. So I think the Knicks beat the Thunder in 6 games. The Knicks are just more seasoned. Jalen Brunson has more experience than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren have. So does Karl-Anthony Towns. So I think the Knicks, can't believe I'm saying this, defeat the Thunder in the NBA Finals this year. There's been a lot of clarity in the NBA. There hasn't been a defending champion repeat in the NBA since the KD Warriors.
Mhm.
So the NBA, it's been a different champion ever since. I don't think it's going to change. I think the Knicks are Larry O'Brien.
Wow.
We're on the same page there. With that, JB, that's all we got for today's Unbiased Hard Take, JB. We had a long episode this time. I like to see it. Basketball's ramping up, football's in the middle. I love it. What do you got for the people, my friend?
Oh, it's not really much. I mean, Steelers are still looking fantastic as always. I mean, the Heat still has a lot of things to work on. Clearly, you need to at least try to make more 3-pointers. Like, come on. You're only making 9 out of 42 shots. Like, phew. I mean, we can't win ugly games every time. I mean, sometimes if we play ugly, it's gonna bite us in the butt. I mean, we barely won that game, and we won ugly. I mean, it's just. I mean, yes, even though it is preseason, we're trying to figure out who's going to go to G League, who's going to stay on the roster. At this point, I mean, yes, I do get that because I mean, we're trying our best, but I mean, clearly, this is how it's just going to go down to it at this point. But we need to actually start making shots, especially if we're wide open. Those are easy those are easy pickings. So we just need to start doing that.
Now, I was going to do a short take on this or a short on this, but I wanted to save it for the podcast. I'm going to spend my last bit talking about Purdue football because it's atrocious. Our defensive coordinator, who's now our play caller, our former defensive coordinator, head coach, Ryan Walters, who comes from the defensive side of the ball, is now calling offensive plays. Hudson Card's been benched, and I can't say that's a bad thing because Ryan Brown, our freshman quarterback, went out there and actually looked pretty good, 297, 3 tutties. And he also had 118 rushing yards, which he's our quarterback. I'm not sure that's a good thing. 102 yards for Maccabee, 1 touchdown. We scored 49 points. We still lost. Our defensive coordinating comes from Ryan Walters, our head coach, comes from the defensive side of the ball. About 50 points. And to make it worse, instead of tying the game in overtime, we decided to go for 2 against number 22 ranked Illinois. And we didn't get it. Why? Why go for it? We've won 1 game. One game against Indiana State. Once. We've lost every game since. And we have a chance to tie it again and go into another overtime. And we decide. We went for it. But freshman quarterback. Ryan Walters was allowed 50 points. Oh, whoa, JB. He had more penalties than Illinois again today. 6 penalties, more penalties than the other team. We're 1-5. And let's look at our remaining schedule. More games. Oh boy. Oh great, JB. Guess who we get to play next? Oregon. We're gonna rank number 3rd in the nation. Beat Ohio State. I'm sure we'll do great against them.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a bye week, thank God. Then Northwestern. We'll be there.
Heck yeah.
And then it's Ohio State. Ohio State ranked number 4. Penn State ranked number 3. Then we play Michigan State and Michigan State. And then we play number 16 ranked IU. So we only have 2 more games where we don't play a top 20 team.
And for once,
We just let 50.
for once in our lifetime, IU football team is actually good.
Purdue football. I seriously question if we'll win another game. I really do. I don't know if we'll win another game, JB.
No.
Wow. This is the worst Purdue football team we have put on the field in our fandom. Easily. Easily. This is the worst Purdue football team we have put on the field. And we have had some pretty rough ones. But this one, though, wow. We can't do nothing right.
Nope.
Quarterback's been benched for a freshman. We have a chance to tie a game against a ranked opponent, and we decide to go for the win instead, and we fail. And then he had the balls after the game to say that I'd do it again. All right. That's all I'm saying. Purdue football, it's sad. Fire Ryan Walters. That's all I got, JB. I'll finish up on this. As always, spoiler up. I do root for us to win some games here. Let's beat Oregon. Dear Lord. It's not going to happen, but boiler up. As always, root for us. Rooting hard, boiler up. Let's go Heat. We got to stay healthy this year. If we do, we'll be a top contender. And go, Pat, go, baby. We can get a big statement win against Houston here. I'm hoping for it. Go, Pat, go.
Even though Purdue football sucks, Purdue football is a laughingstock in college football.
It's the worst in the Big Ten.
It's worse than the Big Ten. You're right. It's
Easily.
it's atrocious. We changed all of our coaching, almost our whole entire coaching staff, and we bit ourselves in the butt. So, but regardless, let's go Purdue. Boiler up. Let's go Heat. We need to make more shots. Like, come on. Not for 42, it's crazy. But regardless, Heat fan for life. And let's go Steelers. And we'll see you all next week. # here we go.
Next week.